Okay. So that's it, Israel. Most High in Christ bless everybody.
Most High in Christ bless you too.
All right. So all praises to the Most High Israel for giving us the spirit to come here in fellowship and learn what His will is and keep His commandments. All right. So the name of today's lesson, once again, is As the World Turns. So this is the third part. As the world turns. We're going to go into some chain of events using the scriptures so that Israelites can start preparing themselves mentally. What's going to happen and what change in the turn under these times going to look like, so you can understand. Hey, how you doing, Sister Shalom? Okay, y'all make sure y'all do something to support the General Assembly, something as simple as sharing the class and tagging somebody in it. Okay, so we're going to go back to 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, the 15th chapter. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn. Okay. Who's Egypt? Egypt is the Americas. Okay, like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68, where the Lord is going to bring you into Egypt again. Okay. So this is the Egypt that the Bible is talking about. This is the one that's going to mourn, this Egypt here. Okay. When you hold this, the precept to help us with this is Revelation chapter 11. So go to Revelation chapter 11 and hold 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Please, Revelation chapter 11. And getting to the point, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. So in the last days, when this mark of the beast comes out, when this government continues to poison people, doing population control and trying to change your DNA and trying to control you and yourself, a lot of people, you're going to die from that. People are dying from it already. And they also just flat out killing you. But it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We're going to have people starving to death. So it says their dead bodies are going to be killed a lot of different ways. Our goal is to avoid this. How do you avoid this? Man, God will it. You got to apply the scriptures. You got to have the fellowship. You got to be in the right place at the right time, because woe unto him that is alone. If you by yourself, or you with the wicked of your own people, what's up, brother? Shalom. If you with the wicked of your own people, they're going to turn on you. They're going to turn on you. They're going to shake you out. They're going to leave you out. You know, people are cold towards each other now. Now just imagine when it gets even rough. They're going to even be killing one another for the certain things that they got. So their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city. That means you're going to actually see dead bodies. Lots of them. Now check this out. which spiritually, where's the spirit at? In your mind. So in your mind, what is this place called? Sodom. Why is it called Sodom? Because homosexuality and lesbianism is accepted, supported, and ran rampant. Yeah, just today I was in a store and this woman was waiting on me, and the hairs on her head, she dyed it so red. I mean, it was like flaming. It was just so red, so bright. And then I was about to comment and say something like, yeah, that's a really bright red. But then I looked the second time, and this flat-chested woman had a mustache. Then coming to find out, looking the third time, this is not a woman. You know, those sodomites, they move so fast. So it was like this. You know, it was like this at first, and all I could see was like, you know, this bright red. And I was like, that's a red. You know what I'm saying? But then once it stopped moving, I saw the fuzz and wasn't eating a peach. I said, that ain't a she. It's like, you fooling people's up in here. So this place is known for sodomy. You understand? This place is known. In your mind, it's not the ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, but in your spiritually, in your mind, you know that this place, America, is known and rampant and protects sodomy. It'll protect sodomy, boy, before it even protect you, even if you under the banner of a black man. If you under the banner of a black man, even by itself. See, I ain't even put on your culture, your nationality, your history. Just even as a black man living in America or African living in America. How y'all doing? You understand? It protects a sexual preference over you as a human being. So now you tell me, is that not sickening? So the Lord said that these bodies are going to be everywhere in this spiritually place that you talking about. Okay. And then it says Egypt. Why? Because Egypt is a word meaning bondage. When we were in, the Israelites supposed to know this. You understand? Because we are the ones that were traumatized. If you think that we are traumatized by Jim Crow, by oppression, redlining, the first fired, last hired. I ain't gonna even ask y'all how many jobs y'all had in the same year. Brothers and sisters, be on job number 5. Okay, shalom, sister. Be on job number 5. That's part of the curses. All of these things fit a certain gender, a certain nationality, a certain race of people. So when you research Egypt, our ancient forefathers, they knew that they were in bondage in that ancient Egypt. So now, who else is in bondage? Only people of color are in bondage because all the other nations are free. They have land, and guess what? They got seat at the table. That's why it's called the UN, which stands for United Nations. So united, they stand, and divided, they fall. So they ain't gonna come. They're not going to disassemble from the agreements that they have, and they divvied up the spoil. You see, and we don't even understand what the true spoil is. Well, let me show you what the true spoil is. It's Revelation. Bear with me. The true spoil is us, me, you. Revelations 18. Our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-grandmothers, our great-great-grandmothers. We have always been the spoil. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 1. So remember why we came here, because I'm going to show you why all the nations, they on one accord and what they have divvied up. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 18 and 1.
Yeah, we saw another. Go ahead.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven.
So these are events that's happening in the spirit world. God is showing you what's happening behind the scene. Okay? He's showing you what's happening behind the scene. You know, some people don't be thinking that certain stuff be happening in heaven. And you don't even understand that there is a movement happening in heaven that's under control, under the power and authority of the Most High. He guided all. Okay? So, this angel came down from heaven. Go ahead.
Having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
So this is a brother John. He's seeing a vision, and he was telling you that everything that this man did, he lit up the earth. Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice.
Go ahead.
Saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
Babylon is fallen. That means they have failed. So this ain't happened yet. He was explaining that, guess what? This thing happened and it's over. So this is on the other side. He's foreseeing a future prophecy of what Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, the mother of harlots, meaning all these other nations are harlots because they do whatever this little demon, this little woman says. Okay? So it is fallen. Go ahead.
It's fallen. And it's become the habitation of devils.
So now it has become the habitation, meaning where everything resides at. All devils. So all these people are demonic. Now, why don't we see the demon in them? Because things are so bad for us. Things are so bad for us that we be seeking peace. You understand? We be seeking peace. We be seeking the best. We be seeking some type of leniency, some type of pleasure, some type of resolve, and anything that they give us, we take for it. That's but you don't see that they the habitation of devils. You understand? Because of any type of little crumb that you get or they give to you, you can't see that these people are works. They terrible. Okay. But only Israelites are the ones that's going around calling them devils. Why? We're calling them devils because of the sins that they commit, like sodomy, oppression, unjust in everything. No justice, them holding themselves not guilty. You understand? Everything, you could just name it. All right, go ahead.
And the hold of every foul spirit.
And the hold of every foul spirit. If you foul, you could be here. But if you right, guess what? Something's wrong with you. Okay? Something is wrong with you. You labeled a cult, hate group, you're aggressive, this, that, and the third. But you accept foul spirits. Something foul is something that smells, it stinks. The people's spirits stink, but yet they accept it. Okay, go ahead.
And a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
That's right. A cage. A cage is where you trap something at. These are people. They allow people to be unclean. They allow people to be hateful. And now the children of God are running around in the same cage with foul, unclean, and hateful. How do you think the children are going to turn out to be? Foul, unclean, and hateful. Because we're following the examples of the Babylonians. Go ahead.
For all nations.
For all nations. These, not just the Babylonians, who they are the Americans today, but the Arabs, the descendants from Ham, okay, Moab and Ammon, okay. So all these nations that you know of as the Hawaiians, the Filipinos, none of these people, the Koreans, okay, the Arabs. When I say the descendants from Ham, I can say Africa, but Israel is on the continent of Africa. But We're not there. Only a residue and remnant are dispersed throughout that continent. But I'm talking about the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites. I'm talking about Ham and his descendants who are still alive. So when I say Africans, I'm talking about those Africans, not the ones that were sent out by the hand and the power and authority of the Most High into slavery. Not those. So all these nations and the ones that I did not mention, for all nations have drunk of the wine. They meaning they drink. When you sit up and drink with somebody, you cool with them. Okay? They drunk of the wine. Okay? And what do? They into their Republican, their democracy, their laws. They follow along very tight knit with them. They in a league of agreements. They are confederate. Okay. Remember Psalms 83 say that they are confederate what? Against thee. So the whole thing, Israelites, is against us. Okay, is against us. Black and Hispanic and of Native American of Negroid descent. I ain't talking about the pale ones. I'm talking about this light skin, them Edomites, the ones that are Caucasian descent. No, not you. You, your father, you of your father. You just in the wrong place. You confused and don't know it and don't understand it. If you are Caucasian descent, I'm not talking about you. You are Spaniard descent, I'm not talking about you. If you are conquistador descent, I'm not referring to you. This is not talking about you. You are not the Israelites. Okay? So all these nations have drunk. Go ahead. And the kings?
Of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
And the kings of the earth has laid down and committed the act of fornication. It's like you in on it. So all of these kings are different rulers from different nations. Go ahead.
And the merchants of the earth.
And listen to this. Here's our point. This is why we came here. And all the merchants. That's why when you go to these big businesses, you very seldom, like out of 100, either zero, maybe out of 1,000, you might see one or two, if that. So let's just take us out. The merchants is not talking about you. You're not a business owner. We don't own chains. Understand, certain people, you have come up in the world. We like to think like that. We like to think optimistic. I understand it about being optimistic, but I'm in general as a whole nation. As a nation, we are on the bottom in the less than 1 percentile of financial wealth and stability. How do our people process that when everybody that looks like them are poor? If I've got an exotic car, some type of Lamborghini or something, and I'm with 20 brothers and the brothers don't have that, you don't know that I don't feel right. I don't feel right to be more than my brothers, to have over than my brothers. I mean, we should have 20 Lambos then. So as a majority, the Israelites, you are not the merchants. So it says, and the merchants of the earth, go ahead.
Or wax rich.
Or wax rich. Meaning you got rich because of something. Go ahead.
Through the abundance.
Through the abundance. What do Babylon have in abundance? Slaves. That they made people that they made slaves. They have in an abundance of them. So many that you know what? They said we have to kill some of them off. That's the reason why during the Atlantic slave trade, they were killing people and they were throwing them overboard. I'm not sure about the numbers. The numbers could be fudged and fabricated and exaggerated, or they could not be enough. But the number is said over 100 million. They threw over 100 million. I'm not here to dispute the numbers, but I'm just saying that's an abundance. It was so, I mean, the sharks had to look like whales. You understand? They looked like whales up under the sea from eating people. That's crazy. That is crazy. And they just continue to breed us and breed us and breed us. That's inappropriate terminology for us because we're not animals. I'm not speaking from my standpoint. I'm speaking from the standpoint of that they looked at us like that. It was an abundance. They didn't care. We are abundantly. Even in ancient Egypt, if you could remember, what was the turning point? What made the world turn? The Pharaoh looked and said, the children of Israel are greater and mightier than we are. Listen, man, we've had our mind destroyed into thinking we're running around saying that we are the minority. We are the minority. They have separated us from our brothers. They have given us labels and titles to keep you from knowing that you are the Israelite and that you are one family. Why? Because 2 are better than 1 and 3 are even stronger. Like just imagine 12. You don't have enough bombs. One thing is we are afraid to die. That's a coward. We got to realize that the Lord can bring us back to death. He can bring us back from the dead. He brought Christ from back to the dead. He brought Lazarus back from the dead. He can bring you back from the dead. Or you don't have to die at all. Daniel didn't die. He didn't have to play tough. He didn't have to run from the lions. When they tried to burn the holy children up, Meshach, Abednego, and what's that? Shadrach, they didn't even smell like smoke. You understand? You know, when the Most High is in us and with us, we're indestructible. But how do you get to that phase? That's why I keep and teach the commandments. That's why I teach the commandments so fervently and so zealously and so consistently. That, you have to obey these laws, these statutes, and these commandments. And where we all start? In the mirror. In the mirror. And which ones do we start with? We start with the ones that you breaking, that you know you're breaking, and you've been told you're breaking. No excuses. But this, that, these. No, not trying to hear none of that. Look back into the mirror. We're going to stay right there, and you're going to keep looking into that mirror until you address your faults. What does the Bible say about a sinful man? He seeking an excuse. He has a reason on why he or why she is doing this, that, and the third. We are not to be like that. So, they are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. You see? Verse 4.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Why did he have to say that? Because the people are allowing themselves to be exploited. The people are allowing themselves to be exploited. We have got to stop allowing ourselves to be exploited. How do you do that? By seeing her for what she is, a deceiver. Okay, go ahead.
That you be not partakers of her sins.
That you be not a partaker of her sins. So all the sins that Americans are doing, that Babylon is doing, when we correct in Babylon, we correcting you. When we correct you, we're correcting you by telling you, you can't do the thing that you customarily used to doing. What if it's a habit that you've been used to doing for 20 years? Okay, now it's time to repent. How old was Abraham when the Lord came to him? 99 years old. 99 years old. So at 99, he still wasn't perfect. The Lord said, walk before me and be perfect. You see, so we ain't never too old to make an adjustment. Just because you have a habit, the Most High in his mercy will come to you and tell you, that it's time for you to change the habit. It's time for you to do something different. You can't do what you normally do, because if you continue to do that, that's going to be the death of you. And what we got to understand is there's nobody that's going to be able to escape that judgment of the Most High breaking his laws. We know that. And I truly and solely believe that every soul believes that deep down in his heart. But every soul somewhere thinks that the Most High is more merciful than he is wrathful. And therefore, on that judgment day, that they'll receive mercy when the Most High has a just weight in the balance. His mercy is as his wrath. So, as merciful as he is, he has the same mindset and ability to know right from wrong, and he ain't boo-boo the fool. So he knows that instead of you redeeming the time and getting yourself together, that you simply made a choice to ignore and set at naught his counsel. And therefore, you get something that you don't want. So that's the card and chance that you do not, you don't want to play. So, and we was at war before here. Okay, so the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 8. So they're dead bodies. Because they make those choices, it's going to lie in the street. Okay? Then it says, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. But here where it says also where our Lord was crucified. Do you know what does it mean by where the Lord was crucified? Now, to help you understand so that you don't get confused, this is a mental crucifixion. Let me help use the scriptures to explain it to you. Okay? Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If you were in ancient time living with the Christ and you did Judas Iscariot and snitched on him, or you was there throwing stones, or you was there trying to stick them like the Romans poked them and stuff like that, and you was there, raise your hand. See, none of you was there. Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and $27. Read this slow. 1 Corinthians 11 and 27. I don't know why I said 13. I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians 11 and 27.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 27. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread.
Stop. Whosoever shall eat the bread. That's the communion. That's the communion. So if you take the communion, listen very closely. Every time we come together, we pass the communion out. Now, you take that bread and you put it into your mouth and you chomp down. Let's see what happens. Go ahead.
And drink this cup of the Lord.
And you drink this cup of the Lord. Go ahead.
Unworthily.
Unworthily. That's the part right there. That's one part. What is it to be unworthy? It's like winning a trophy and you know you paid the judge. You understand? You cheated. You're not worthy of that reward, right? Because they called the fight, they called the race, they did what they called the whatever it is. You're unworthy. So how could we relate that into your life in the truth? You're not listen, if you're being a demon and you're being wicked and you're being lawless and you breaking the commandments of the Most High, outwardly before men and outwardly before women, you appear to be righteous. But in your personal life, you grow horns. You are not worthy to put that into your mouth. Because that symbolizes somebody that is committed, devoted, and that have separated themselves from all the things that you do in your personal life. You are a cheat, felonious, and perpetrator fraudulently that you are like Christ when you are still the old man and like the devil. Like the Bible says, whoever sinned is of the devil. And because you do that, guess what God says? Read the next part.
Shall be guilty.
Shall be what?
Guilty.
Shall be guilty. So you can put on the front in front of the assembly because you figure that people are going to look at you and wonder what you're doing because you didn't take it. You are a foolish being. Because we can't throw one stone. We can't judge you. If you're worried about what people are going to think, get yourself together. You don't care what people think when you're doing what you're doing. Now all of a sudden you're concerned. You care what people will think of you if you don't take communion. You are a foolish individual. And God is going to judge you as guilty. And when you fall into his hands, it ain't no telling what the Most High going to do to you, man. You putting yourself in the hands of somebody that has the ability to be terrible to you and leave you like that. It ain't about the communion and the wine. It's about your actions. That's what this is about. It's about your actions. But check it out. It says you'll be guilty of what?
Of the body and blood of the Lord.
Oh, you'll be... Wait a minute. I just asked us, was anybody there that killed God, that killed the Christ? You said no. So how are you guilty of the body and blood of the Lord? This is a crucifixion. They crucified him. How are you guilty of crucifying him? The same way Revelations chapter 11 and verse 9 says that the Lord was crucified in this street. It's the same thing. How do you crucify him? How is he crucified here? You're the ones that's crucifying him. Because the spirit of the Christ is trying to dwell in you and present himself righteous so that he could do what? Teach other people how to follow the example of God, the Most High. And instead of rolling with it, you kill it. You kill the spirit in you. You say, oh no. I love oppression. You love the ones that the Most High hate because that's who you learn from. You dress like them, you talk like them, you act like them. Where'd you get these habits from? You didn't grow up in Saudi Arabia. You didn't grow up in the continent of Africa. You didn't grow up in China. You grew up right here, the children of the slaves that was put into slavery, the children of the Hebrews that was put into slavery. And it had devils and demons over there. And you learn these bad habits from your parents and from the environment around you. You learned it, and you will not allow the Christ to live inside of you to change you around. And when you get taught, some people go through certain motions, but then you say, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Your actions show that you don't want to do it. You might not outwardly say that you don't want to do it. It's your actions that show. So to avoid dealing with your emotions and your affections, excuse me, is there any water? Can you put that in the freezer for me? Look, see if there's a water up that top. Instead of dealing with your emotions on how you have to take what's being said tonight. I'm not gonna deal with the emotions. You gotta deal with what you doing adverse, what you doing against the scriptures. You gotta deal with that. And you got to stop that. Because if you don't stop it, you are crucifying the Christ. Remember, the Bible says that Christ left us an example that we should follow. And that example is the same example that we're supposed to teach one another. So, what happens if you lead somebody astray? What happens if you teach somebody something that you're not supposed to teach them? You don't know that their blood is on your hands? So you're going to get in trouble for you doing the wrong thing and that you taught somebody something that you wasn't supposed to teach them. Okay? So let's lose that. And where's we going to start at? Go back to Second Ezra chapter 15. In verse 12, where it says, Egypt shall mourn.
Second Ezra 15 and 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it.
That's right. So if you think that, okay, they got a cure and the vaccine is going to stop it, you wrong again. How you gonna create something that's going to stop what the Most High say he going to put into this earth? So actually the thing that's inside of you is just showing you your faith in the Most High, that you lack the faith. You're supposed to resist it. There's supposed to be people taking it. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, they don't understand that. They don't understand it. What happens if they're trying to force you to take it on your job? You're supposed to be looking for another job then. Yeah. You're supposed to be looking for another job. Because it's going to come a point in time to where the job is going to be the least of your worries. What's going to be one of the main worries? One of the main worries is going to be that you're not going to be able to buy and sell without something. They want to put something in you. Let's put it like that. And they already started it with this vaccine by saying, "Oh, you can't work here if you don't have it." And a lot of people say, "Okay, which one do you want? I got to keep working." So what's going to happen when go to Revelation chapter 13? Revelations 13 and 16.
Revelations 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond.
Right, so everybody have to. Small, great, rich, poor, not incarcerated. So if you're on house arrest, if you're a parolee, if you don't come in, see your parole officer and get it, guess what's going to happen? To receive, go ahead.
To receive a mark in their right hand.
The precept says give them a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. I did a class a month ago or so about the mark of the beast according to the scriptures. I believe that each and every last one of you should go back and you should watch those classes. Because everybody in this world has residue of the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is a wide spectrum. The last part, to where they go ahead and put it into your hand, guess what? You can't get that. You can't finish it. It's like the finishing pieces to the puzzle. It's like the cherry on top. See, you didn't know the Most High put you in this condition, in this situation. And you've been living up under this beast, and he's been marking you. He's been marking his territory. It's to the point to where, he branding you. He's been branding your sin, your conscience with his ideologies, with his false worship, with his imageries. He's got you. He feeds you what he want to feed you. All he do is send it to the market, and you go in there and buy. That's the only thing you got to choose from. Your clothing. The Lord tell you how he wants you to dress. You wear what you want to wear. This man tell you could come out in your underclothes and go out to the water, and now it's called a swimsuit. When you go home, it's called panties and a bra. So you standing out there naked, sister, in your underclothes, not knowing and understanding when the Lord said you should be covered and you should have modest apparel, not provoking men. So you see the mental damage. You see the forehead work. He's been marking us for a long time. Those are the things that we got to come out of. But it's going to come, the finishing touches is going to be to where he's going to go ahead and usher in something and say, if you don't take this last piece, I'm not going to sell you food. Neither are you going to be able to get rid of your possessions so that you can buy something else for yourself. I'm going to shut you down from trade. He's going to put embargoes on you the same way he did all these other countries that rebelled against him. His own citizens, he's going to put, that's what they call it, an embargo, to where they stop dealing with you like that. He said, I'm going to do my citizens like that. If you don't come in and let me stick this thing in you, guess what? They already started it. It's been for ages. It's ages with his peace. He destroyed us so much and then turn around and give us aid. We're like, okay, give us the social stuff, like the monies and the welfares and all these different branches of support, and the schooling and all that is more mind damaging to us. The schooling, and what we thought that going to school was it. Going to school was nothing but a distraction, because our people went to these schools and didn't get those jobs. You only got one life to live, and you only go through it once to realize that you got jacked up, you got railroaded. Now you have spent 10 years plus more. By this time, you middle age. Now you in your late 30s before you really, really realize that you've been boozled, and the youth up under you, they see them. So they program you through the television on what education is, on what schooling is, on what jobs is, on what is going to happen. And you cannot tell the youth anything. You can't tell them that, that you're not, that's not going to for you. You ain't going to make it doing that. Okay, you got to get it like this. Let me help you out. They're like, oh, no, use a bum. They look at us like we're bums. Fathers trying to teach their children, no, use a bum. I ain't got to learn this from you. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do something for myself. Listen, God did create some exceptional and extremely extraordinary human beings, and a lot of us. And they happen to look at those people and compare themselves to that mind, whether that mind has got a body, a spirit, and a mind, intellectual, they got bodily strength, they got a lot of different things about them. So they're trying to compare themselves with that. So these people will take those people from among us and set them on pedestals in this world to keep them from being aid and assistance and leaders to us. And then we'll have hundreds of thousands of our youth seeing that and say, okay, well, I can do that. Well, God didn't give you the mindset and the intelligence that he gave that person for whatever reason did he give. He gave that person that for whatever reason he gave it to him. So like a factory, we go up into these environments, into these institutions, and then we come back home. We go away from our primary relatives, families, and friends in our neighborhoods, and then we get an average B job and stand in these projects that he have called apartments. You understand? And you never really realize that you actually failed because your original goal was to be white collar. You never did make white collar. And they make it so that you do not make white collar. You understand? So we don't get that through our minds. It comes a point in time to where you ain't gonna be able to do nothing, and so you're gonna have to people, not you're gonna have to, but they are going to end up humbling themselves and folding and saying, okay, I ain't gonna be able to buy or sell, go ahead and give it to me. And they're gonna say, I gotta do what I gotta do. You can't judge me. Even though you're coming out the scriptures and you're telling them what the judgment is according to the scriptures. Okay. What does the scripture say? Jump over to chapter 14 and 10. Read that.
Revelations 14 and 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented.
He shall be tormented. Go ahead.
With fire and brimstone.
Where is the fire and brimstone? It's in the lake of fire. Now, what is the crime? Jump up to verse 9. If any man worship, that's the second precept. If any man worship the beast, so you love the man so much, the beast is a nation. You love the nation so much that you're going to just listen to them, and you're not going to listen to the Bible. You're not going to listen to God. You're not going to listen to his servants, his prophets, his preachers, his teachers. You're not going to listen to anybody but his image. You're going to worship the image, his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. There is a choice right there. What if you flee and don't get it in your hand, but you were consenting your whole life to everything else? Because even in your mind, you didn't turn unto the Most High. You were still in the midst of sin. The same, meaning you, that person who did that, shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture. It's not diluted, in other words, without mercy. So you're right. We're not going to judge you. God himself is going to judge you. Okay? They can go around the back. They can go. Did the sign up? God himself is going to judge you. Okay? And that's something that they don't understand. But we got to understand that. There are people today, just like you could be asking somebody, did you take the vaccine? And they'll be like, no, I'm not taking it. How many people do we know saying that, no, I'm not taking that? Plenty of people, right? But they're not in the truth. They're not following the scriptures. They're not trying to enhance this education, because this is an education. But they didn't take the vaccine. But you kept the 4th of July. Exactly. So it's in your head. It's in your mind. So it's going to be people like that too. They're going to say like, no, I'm not taking that. Ain't nobody putting nothing in me. And they'll be to you trying to present themselves as, I'm knowledgeable, I'm conscious, I'm woke, I'm with you, I'm a believer. Shoot, he ain't doing me like that. I believe in God. But you still smoking weed, you still fornicating, you still keeping all the pagan holidays. You are against God. And in your mind, you are one of them. You just didn't take that because you didn't want them to shoot nothing into your body. These things are going to affect those ones that don't listen unto these scriptures. This is the warning from the Most High. You are being warned right now. And all these lessons and all these classes, Israelites, you are being warned. You ain't gonna never be able to say that the Most High didn't tell you. He's telling you now. You know what you're doing? You're not listening. Maybe you smoking too much weed. Maybe you drinking too much. Maybe you're not getting enough rest to where you're tired and you're not paying attention. Maybe you're doing too much partying. Maybe you're loving somebody more than you're supposed to. You could love somebody so much that you do what? You lose your mind. You run out of your wits. Did y'all know that you could do that? Mm-hmm. You could love somebody so much to where you stop doing the right thing because they not dealing with you right. So you stop doing the right thing. What do you do when somebody is not doing the right thing? You leave them alone. Plain and simple, you leave them alone. What if you don't want to leave them alone? Then that shame is on you. And then you're going to continue to do what? Go through the things that you're going through. Then don't complain. Go through what you're going through. But you can't complain because you're making a choice like they're making a choice. And many people are making choices and decisions to do what they do to you. Maybe you didn't realize that. Maybe they tell you that they done, I didn't realize that it was that bad. They know they messing you over. Yeah, they know that it hurts. Hurt me, I'm done. I don't chase nobody. You gotta apply the scriptures. This is the test right here. You gotta prove. That's why the scriptures tell you to prove a friend. Everybody gotta come through the scriptures. Everything gotta come through the scriptures. If they don't want to go through the scriptures, then they don't want to deal with you. All right. So let's go back to Revelation. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And now 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful consolation. Why, if people tilling the ground? Because remember the state. You're going to have some people trying to be self-sufficient. So those of you brothers and sisters that's out there that's going to try to be self-sufficient. So I'm hoping all of y'all hip on that, trying to be self-sufficient, because if you ain't going to be able to buy or sell, you're going to have to be trying to, without no food, you can't go to the grocery store. Let's just say, when the last time y'all been to the store in here? Raise your hand. You been to the store today? Raise your hand. Okay, yesterday? Okay. Day before? Okay, I'm trying to reach everybody. It's been that long? Within the last 3 days? Some of y'all ain't been? Okay. Within a week? Okay. So now, do you know when this comes, you ain't never going into the store again? You ain't never going into the store again. You ain't going to be able to get in. You'll get caught. If you get caught, trust me, they're going to have these Jones walled off, barbed wired off. It's going to be like camp. It's going to be crazy. You can't go in there. Remember how when this thing first broke out, you better not even think about coming in here without a mask on? They stopped you at the door. Remember, think about it. They had people at the door counting a certain amount of people going in. Right. There's going to be some type of indication in order to let you into that store. You ain't getting in there. You get caught, that's your life. So what's going to happen? You're going to be trying to plant stuff. Think about it. I bought seeds today. I went into the store. I really did. I bought some seeds. Let's see what kind of seeds did I buy. Turnip greens and 2 other type of different seeds. But here it says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail. Why? So remember, you got people that's not dealing with the Most High, but they ain't going to take the mark either. So you think just because you don't take the shot, the jab is what they calling, everybody calling that you're going to escape the judgment, you're still breaking the laws of the Most High. So your seed going to fail. The canker can get them. The Most High say, no, I'm going to blast that drone. And hell. Storm's going to destroy your stuff. And with a fearful consolation. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's show that in the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28 in verse. Okay, let's get two of them. Deuteronomy 11 is the first one. To show you that it's going to fail. Or the opposite, that you can have success. Deuteronomy 11 and 13. Read that.
Deuteronomy 11 and 13. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart.
That's all I say. You love the Most High and to serve him. Go ahead.
And with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain.
All right. The ones that make it grow while it's under the ground, and then also the ones that keep it going. Go ahead.
That thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil.
Right, because we didn't have the European water hose. So what do you think we needed? We needed the Most High to look down upon us and see what we're doing. Hold this and go to the book of Psalms. Please don't let these pages go so that we can flip to them really, really quick.